Hello, I am Martin Fencka and welcome to the first episode of another of my Civilization 5 Vox Populi Let's Plays. As usual, in the first episode we will talk about the settings and I'll show you 3 starting locations that I've picked, and you will help me decide which of these starting locations we'll be using for the Let's Play. So let's start with the mods that we'll be using. As usual, the complete Vox Populi package with the filter or advanced filter for trade routes. I'll be using the version from 21st of November with the hotfix. I'm not sure about the date of the hotfix, but it's the one that fixed the upgrade prices for units. So I'll make these 3 starting locations or save files for these 3 starting locations available tomorrow. So if you want to use them, play with me, make sure that you have the same version of Vox Populi. Now, when we check the setup, if you watch the whole previous Let's Play, you might be a bit surprised that we're gonna be playing as Egypt, because I was talking about, or during the previous Let's Play, I was considering playing as Venice, but then the more I was thinking about how the game would play out, I realized that Venice is so different from the other saves that I'll probably need some practice with it just to figure out all the differences. And I didn't have time to do any testing with Venice, so instead I decided to go with the save that was requested multiple times, but is one of the, let's say, normal saves. I consider Venice to be like a completely different game. So we'll be playing as Egypt. And when we check the advanced setup, I again picked our opponents manually because I'm trying to avoid China, I'm trying to avoid Korea, because they can just snowball way too hard and sometimes there is no way to stop them. And then I don't want to have Indonesia in the game because often it just takes forever for the Indonesian turns to be processed for I don't know what reason. So I'll be playing against America, Ottoman Siam, the Maya, Arabia, Germany, Ethiopia. I think this is an interesting balance of saves. No one super aggressive, but all of these saves have potential to really start snowballing pretty hard, or they can also go the militaristic way in most cases. So it's they're difficult to predict, and it depends on where they will start. If they start next to us and will be forced to focus more on military, or they'll start alone somewhere and can snowball and really properly start their economy early. And I kind of like the combination here, I have to say. As for the map settings, we'll be playing on Pangea Plus. The previous Let's Plays were on island maps, so I want to switch things around completely. So this time it will be Pangea Plus. Standard size, I learned from the previous Let's Play that going for larger maps just makes the playthroughs way too long. So standard size should be enough. There at the epic speed, no changes here, and the remaining settings are just normal ones. I didn't change anything here, so standard settings for everything else. As for the advanced options, I made some changes here. I hope that the game didn't change anything here. Yeah, I disabled starting best because I didn't want all the starting locations to be just desert. I wanted to have some variety in that, so I disabled the starting bias for Egypt. We don't want to have event system. I didn't enable research agreements this time. No ruins as usual. I disabled manually all the events, so bad, good, everything is off. What else do we have? No tech trading and brokering. And for the first time, I disabled vassalage. It's been recommended to me multiple times that maybe I should try that. It could make the game more interesting, and I think more challenging, but also more predictable. It won't happen that saves will randomly decide to become someone's vassal and therefore create a superpower that is very hard to beat. The thing that happened in the previous Let's Play with Russia and Spain. And this is one of the reasons why I decided to not play Venice, because I think if I want to play as Venice, I'll kinda have to keep the vassalage system on. And in this playthrough, I wanted to play without vassalage. So just one of the reasons why we are playing as someone other than Venice. Quick combat, quick movement, no difference there. We'll be using Raging Barbarians this time, and Transparent Diplomacy as usual. I hope I didn't forget anything here. 16 city-states. So now I think we can jump into the game, and I'll show you the 3 starting locations. This time I wasn't too picky, and I only re-rolled starting locations that were like really bad when there was no food or no production, and it would just make a horrible start. But I wasn't going for some super strong starting locations. And when you are deciding on when we gonna play, don't think about where you would start because it's the starting location. Think about where would you like to see me playing. It doesn't have to be like the best out of these 3. Think about the most interesting, or where it would be like most challenging, or would force me to do something else or different than I usually do, because the location would lack one of the basic resources, something like that. We don't have to always go for the strongest starting location. Maybe before we jump into the game, let's quickly talk about the unique ability of Egypt, so you can take that into consideration. So Egyptian monument builders, extra production for wanderers, or during Golden Ages it's even more production, so 20% for everything or 40% during Golden Ages. Then the interesting part comes after that. Artifacts gain +5 science and culture, and landmarks 5 gold and tourism. Landmarks come into play very late with archaeology. And artifacts usually are the same, right? But as Egypt, we get access to burial tombs that are replacement for caravanserai, and they are built with the free artifact inside. So we get this first bonus, that science and culture, much earlier than we would without the burial tombs. So this is something we'll have to consider as we play. We'll have to prioritize caravanserais a lot more than we'd usually do, because that +5 science and culture makes this pretty insane. Usually caravanserai gives you what? Increases the range of your trade routes and gives a little bit of gold, I think. But in our cases, each burial tomb will give us 1 gold, 1 faith, 5 science, and 5 culture. And caravanserais, or burial tombs in this case, are in the lower part of the tech tree, so where I usually go very late. So this time I will have to probably change the way how I progress through the tech tree. So that will have to, or that will be something different. And then the last thing, we have war chariots, a replacement for chariot archers. Doesn't require horses. And I will check the gift of the pharaoh. What does that mean exactly? I actually forgot to check that off camera. So that's about Egypt, and now we can check our starting location. But first of all, let's check that gift of that should be enough. Receive production in your capital when you defeat an enemy unit. Wow. Okay, so we want to get as many of these as quickly as possible and try to snowball our capital thanks to like aggressive expansion. Okay. But now we can focus on the starting location. So here is the first one. This one looks pretty good. Jungle around, we are starting with chocolate, which should be our main source. And we also have copper in the range. Here I would most likely start on the hill for the extra production, but no forest or jungle hill, so no production boost from removing that forest or jungle. We can look around a little bit. Let's go this way, just more jungle, and I'll go to the other side as well, just check what's down here, if there is something interesting. But of course, when we're gonna start in the next episode, I won't be moving the settler this way. We'll again start here and move to the hill. This just gives you guys some more vision in case you find something that would help you with the decision. Okay, that's location number 1. Now we load number 2. For a standard size map, this shouldn't take too long to reload. As you can see, this is already significantly weaker, quite unusual to starting locations that I usually prefer. Doesn't have that much food, doesn't have that much production. It of course has potential to have resources around horses, cattle, all that kind of stuff that you usually find on plains or grassland, but we don't know about that. What we can work with is the lake and double silk for a lot of gold. That's what we would rely on quite heavily with this location. And we have a marble for extra production, but that's just production with nothing else, which means we can't work it too early, as we have to make sure that our capital keeps growing. When we look around, is there anything here? For the settler, we can jump on the hill, and there is nothing else that we could see. This is where I would probably start, so that we can work the silk immediately and then try to buy the lake and get that triple food so that our capital can grow somewhat. Oh, this is number 2, and now number 3. And again, notice no forest or jungle hill. We have a hill again, but without the initial production boost from forest or jungle. And the last one, again, starting next to or close to a lake, so that we have triple food, 1 production here. We have wheat that we can improve early to get another 3 food, 1 production tile. But other than that, there really isn't too much. Desert gold is garbage. Then we have a hill with gold for production and gold. That's a decent tile, and we have a coral for again some extra gold. So we could rely on that. But there is a desert to the north, so nothing promising. We can maybe check. Let's see, can we go this way? Just more desert. And when we check on the other side, there are some grasslands, maybe some mountains and hills. Oh, there's an oasis, so that's quite a lot of gold that we could get potential. That's like +8 gold that we can get even without improving a single tile. Of course, we probably don't want to rely on this because this tile is horrible with just gold. But even when we are not counting this gold, that's 6 gold without touching these tiles. And these are tiles that I would happily work early. So gold would be a source we would rely we will rely on heavily in this or on this starting location. Okay, so these are our options. Now it's up to you guys to decide where we're gonna start. Oh, here we would be starting on this tile, which is a forest, but it's not a hill, so we wouldn't have that extra production from this tile. We would only get the initial boost for removing the forest. And also we'll make the city a little bit weaker against attackers, but there is forest on this side, so hard to get to the city, and we have the lake here that makes the access from this side more difficult as well. But the city still would be weaker when it's not on the hill. So yeah, this will be all for this episode. We'll start playing tomorrow when you decide where we're gonna start. And one more thing for those of you who are interested in the next 1 city challenge, I will start that either tomorrow, but most likely on Wednesday, which is in 2 days, and we'll be playing as Korea trying to get one city science victory. And I think this will be the last information for this video. So I hope that you like these options. I hope that you're gonna comment and tell me your opinion, and then we'll see each other tomorrow in the first episode where we will actually start playing. Until then, have a good time. Bye bye.